back to the studio here. Yonni, I'm not going to try and butcher your last name, but product manager at Cybereason. Israel is quite well versed. Well, not versed, but prepared supposedly for cyber attacks. Same thing though. How is it organized, something on such a mass scale, to attack half the globe?
I think the question isn't a matter of when, it's a matter of it was definitely going to happen. It's not a question of if, it's when. These types of attacks that don't necessarily need the victim to have very valuable data or have something specific the attacker wants, everyone has money. And that means every single person on the globe, whether they're a big company or a private user, can be a potential target. And that makes the potential epidemic that much bigger. Now, the issue is here, like the researcher just mentioned, it's a very simple attack to perform. If you can get the right tools, attackers throughout the world have the means to find whether it's a vulnerability used by the NSA or whether it's something they develop on their own. The act of collecting these things and turning them into a weapon is much, much easier than it was, say, 3 or 4 years ago. That means that the potential for an attack exists. Specifically, in this case, it was much, much more targeted than we've ever seen before. The damages, I think, range to hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions. And the biggest issue is it could have been prevented. No,
and sadly, not much time that we have. Shai Ben-Ari, though, you had a chance to actually attend an IDF briefing because, needless to say, in Israel, everybody was concerned. Israel wasn't very much hit by this cyber attack. What was in that briefing?
Right. Israel, there are no indications that Israel was really targeted, Israeli institutions or companies or any other thing, but it's still very concerning, and they expressed a lot of concern in this briefing.
To the military.
Right.
Yeah.
A senior IDF cyber defense officer speaking on this issue, saying it's perhaps too early to say exactly where the attacks originated from, but they do fit the general profile of cyber criminals rather than terrorist or state actors. He added that if it had been identified in Israel, it probably would have been the authority of the police or private security companies rather than the military. The military does get involved when you see an attack on critical national infrastructure, say waterworks or electricity, that kind of thing. This is right on the border because you are talking about, for example, hospitals.
Right.
And they said there was potential for a life-threatening situation.
No, it clearly froze half of the UK. Really quickly to you, Yonni, when Edward Snowden comes online 2 days ago and blames the NSA for this cyber attack, does he have truth in his words?
Yes and no. I mean, in this specific case, they were using vulnerabilities that were used by the NSA, but in a few months from now, it could be something completely different.
It could be something else in a few months. Thank you.